Live from the House of LeMay Makeup and Dressing Room.
Here comes Amber. Stop what you're doing. Here comes Amber. She's just doing what she can. Here comes Amber. Cue the spotlight. Here comes Amber with 2 drinks in her hand. The matriarch of fashion, secrets to her glasses, you can't look away. Ask her, does she do it? There's really nothing to it. She's got that feminine game. If you have a party, or if you're feeling naughty, call up the House of LeMay. Here comes your favorite gal. Here comes your queen. Here comes the talk of town. And we're live tonight. The music starts playing. It's time for cabareting. And we're live tonight.
I spent 5 years on Air Force One with President Obama. He's the only one that I served directly. I would put my shrimp and grits and my banana pudding up against any other chef on the planet Earth. And those are the 2 things that he would ask specifically for from me.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
Check out the incredible detailing to this Beetlejuice suit. The original Beetlejuice suit. Now at the Museum of Broadway in New York City.
Dude, welcome to the Amber Live Show. I'm Rusty Peen, but before we go any further, be sure to like, share, and subscribe by poking at all them buttons down below, bud. Yeah? So, dude, with that in mind, welcome to the show. We've got Amber LeMay interviewing Vicki Quade of Nuns4Fun, but first, here comes Dwayne Scott Zerny with the news.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem has turned infamous with the release of her new book titled No Going Back. Oh, how a simple period after the word no would have made all the difference. No! Going back! Brief book review. She shot a puppy called Cricket that she couldn't train, killed a goat like a drive-by rapper murder because she was still angry about that bastard puppy. She also killed 3 horses because, you know, that biblical horseman apocalypse thing. She also claims she met North Korean President Kim Jong-un, which never happened. She's blaming her ghostwriter for the air while looking for her shock collar and shotgun. Also revealed, Noem used to teach Bible school for the little tykes, which makes a lot of sense. The Bible, as we all know, is a little violent, kind of like the script for Faces of Death videos. Lots of smiting. If she finally smites her own political career, I might even buy one of those scratch and sniff Trump Bibles, which coincidentally smell like goat. The Trump trial concluded its 3rd week on the Billboard charts with an appearance by Hope Hicks, a woman who has overcome her exterior beauty by being ugly on the inside. Hicks broke down in tears when forced to speak honestly, perhaps the first time since she boarded Air Force One, because, well, you know, Trump likes her by his side. It's the closest he'll ever get to her insides. Apparently, Trump never grabbed her by the Josie and the Pussycats, not because he didn't want to, but because Air Force One has stabilizers for such unwanted turbulence. Courtroom highlight: when Hicks first heard about the Access Hollywood clip, she was given a transcript, which she then handed to Trump. He did not read it aloud as his lips were moving. Trump said it didn't sound like something he would say. Then Hicks saw the video and declared, "Deny, deny, deny." Yes, when her moral code was tested and drilled, only a well of tears came flooding out, proving that hoax is an historical hiccup. Donald Trump has been sorting through potential VP picks just like he did with National Secrets, chewing them up and spitting them into nearby toilets. I have a suggestion. Hire a VP that's good with plumbing, doesn't shoot dogs, or refer to his wife as mother. Such a candidate shouldn't be that difficult to find, except it's the Republican Party. Now let's talk about Trader Joe's and their tote bag. Tens of thousands of people have been snagging these bags for $2.99 and reselling them online for as much as $500. Okay, I resell for a living, but what the fuck? I recall when Pee Wee Herman got busted in an adult movie theater. In the days that followed, Toys R Us tossed millions of dollars worth of inventory into the trash. Many, many people went dumpster diving and made a small fortune, reselling Miss Yvonne dolls, Jambi's head in a box, or Tito's underwear. I'm just kidding on that last one, I think. Yes, limited supplies move markets, but trust me, Trader Joe's isn't running out of tote bags or overpriced arugula. Gucci, Pucci, Fiorucci, T. Joe's? So yes, maybe yet another sign of the apocalypse. And that's the news in my briefs.
Whoa, that was informative. Dude, let's get on with the show and bring Russell in here. Russell!
I almost said Rocco. Rusty!
Dude, this ain't Rocco. Do you think I wear a suit and a tie, bud?
I'm pretty sure you don't.
Good. I'm pretty sure the last tie I had went towards using a belt, and now I don't wear a belt no more because I got these spenders.
Yeah, I'm guessing the only time you're going to be in a suit and a tie is for your funeral, if you even do that.
Dude, I can't afford that. I can't even afford shit with the shit that you pay me on this show, but there's a way that people can kick in more money. Want to know what that is?
I do want to know what that is, and that's the Boostiers.
Boostiers.
We love our Boostiers, and you can use that Venmo at RJD Pro to become a Boostio, or go to amberlive.tv. And thank you all so much for being Boostiers. We have bills every month, every week. So if you want to help out, please become a Boostier, and we really appreciate it.
Dude, Russell, as long as we're making sure that we're getting money kicking toward the show so we can put on the best show, what's the best place to watch the show?
That's a great question, Rusty. And the best place to watch is always on youtube.com/AmberLive. And that's because on youtube.com, you get to see the show in full HD. So you can see Rusty Peens' beer cans in all their glory. But after the show, you can go to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or even our website to check out so much more. And if you can't watch the show, you can always listen to the show on the Amber Live interviews. And those are available anywhere you find great podcasts.
Dude, that's great, because sometimes I put on that Oculus thing and then I can't see nothing that's going on, but it's great to be able to hear that Amber LeMay show. Especially when I'm playing that game where I walk off the building on the plank. You ever play that one?
I have attempted that one and gave up very quickly. And
it scares the crap out of me, but it's a great thing to watch when you're listening to the Amber Live show.
And, Rusty, we do request that you no longer use the Oculus while you're driving.
Yeah, but that causes serious issues. That's why I'm no longer allowed to vote in the state of Vermont.
I wouldn't let you vote anywhere, but okay, you do have the right. So there you go, and we do need your vote. So who would you vote for tonight's guest, Rusty?
Dude, I'm voting for Vicki Quade, tonight's guest.
Yes, she is the other half of a team that created Late Night Catechism like 30 years ago, a show that's still running and became an international sensation. And their company, Nuns4Fun, is where you can find them, along with a lot of other great shows about nuns and bingo and all kinds of things. So let's hear what Vicki has to say. Here she is.
A few weeks ago, we interviewed Mary Pat Donovan, the co-creator of the long-running One Nun comedy show, Late Night Catechism. Tonight, we talked to the other creator, Vicki Quade. Quade is not only the boss at a company called Nuns4Fun, but is an accomplished author and has created other productions such as Are You Smarter Than Your 8th Grade Nun? And Bible Bingo. Let's watch some of her work.
Hi, this is Vicki Quade, and I'm the head mistress at Nuns4Fun Entertainment. Now, you probably know us from our various religious comedies, which we do here in Chicago. We do them on stages and at fundraisers throughout the United States, in Canada, really throughout the world.
Jesus, Becca. Jesus, Becca. Jesus is the Son of God. You mean Jesus is Victor's son?
I asked her name. I didn't ask you her name. Joanne, beautiful, beautiful. Joseph and Ann, the same name. Lovely, lovely. No, don't touch my prices. Do you want a little surprise for doing that? Is that why you're hanging out here? Here. We'll give you a little ticket to heaven. I hope it's not expired when you get up there.
Come on in.
Hi, how
Hello
are
there.
you?
I'm doing fine. All right, Vicki. So tell us a little bit about your history, how you started being so creative.
Oh my goodness. I mean, truly, it is something I've had the ability to write and create stories ever since I was really little. If people talk about things that just come naturally to them, and that is clearly writing and being expressive and telling stories, and it's just been with me my whole life.
I mean, some of your early stories, as a kid, how would you develop things?
Oh, well, when I was 6 years old, my little brother was born, and I was sort of the built-in babysitter. So my mom would have me hang out with him, and I would tell him stories. And I can still remember some of those stories. I created a character called Bad Boy Bill, and Bad Boy Bill would do all the things that I was hoping my little brother wouldn't do. And he would, every time I would babysit him, he would say, "Tell me another story." And so really it's looking at how you create a character, you create a story, you have an audience, even if it's an audience of one, and you get that feedback. That's very enticing to keep it going. So
how did you progress your career?
I was always the family reporter. I had a transistor radio, and I would listen to it, and I would always tell the news of what was going on, what I heard. And I did go into journalism. My degree's in journalism, and I worked for daily newspapers, and I worked for magazines, and I did Q&As, and I just kept honing that writing skill. And then eventually I segued into theater.
Start liking theater, or when did that bug start?
Oh, very young. My mother loved theater. I went with her to see, but it was the big ticket shows in Chicago. The idea of storefront theater hadn't really caught on yet. So we would go to see Yul Brynner and The King and I. We saw a lot of dancing, ice capades, just wonderful shows, and that was from a very early age.
And you started writing for theater. Tell us about your early projects.
Well, the first project I had produced was Late Night Catechism. It's not the first play I wrote. I had written several others, and I tried playing around with writing a screenplay that had a religious comedy bent to it. But Late Night Catechism was my first opportunity to have something produced. And that's
why go towards the Catholic Church on your projects?
Well, I am Catholic. I was raised Catholic. And you certainly have heard write what you know. And it was just easy for me to do that. We were also very friendly with the nuns. I grew up in a car culture, and we had several cars. My oldest brother would get in the car and drive a half a block to the Jewel food store, because having a car was a big thing. And the nuns had their convent about a mile away. And they would call my parents and ask if they could borrow the car. So they would walk. We would offer to go get them, but they would walk. They would walk and show up and knock on the door. And my mother would say, "Victoria, go and give them the key." And this is where I realized the difference between priests and nuns when it came to their work within the church. So we were good friends with a priest named Father Hill. And Father Hill would come into our house, have dinner, smoke a cigar with my dad, drink our port wine, hang out, have a wonderful meal. Okay. And I loved Father Hill. I really did. He was a great guy. The nuns would come tapping on the window, and my mom would say, "Here, give them the keys to the car." And I would stand at the door, and I would want them to walk up because I was curious. They never came up onto the porch, and I would say, "Here are the keys. Here, and they wouldn't come up. They would stand there like, here to bring those keys to us." And my mother would then yell at me, and then I'd have to go out and give them the keys. And I thought, why can't those nuns come in our house? Father Hill comes in. He has dinner with us. I like these nuns. They're fun. But no, they would never come in our house, anyone's house. Coming into a home meant that it was sort of, it gave them a taste of what their life had been. And so the church did not want those nuns to see that again, and perhaps leave the sisterhood in order to go back to a regular life. So they didn't.
How fascinating!
Yeah, yeah.
So you went to Catholic elementary school.
I did. I went to Catholic school. I was taught by Adrian Dominican nuns from Adrian, Michigan. They were terrific. And we knew them. I knew them outside of the school, and so I could really enjoy talking to them, and I wasn't afraid of them. I mean, a lot of people were afraid of nuns, but I was not. In fact, I didn't really know who they were at first. When I was really little, I thought they were like angels, until they started coming around. Then it was like, oh, they're just dressed like that. Because they dressed in white. The Adrian Dominicans dressed in a white habit.
How long were you in Catholic school?
I went all years in my grade school, and I went 1 year to Catholic high school. And I was taught by the Cincinnati Dominicans. And as much as I like those nuns as well, I really didn't think the teaching was as good as what I had in grade school. And here I was, 14 years old, 15, telling my mom, could I go to the public school? Because I think that's a better education. And I went 1 year to the public school, and then I went my final 2 years to a business high school.
Wow, you're talking back in the 50s now, aren't you?
No. I'm talking late 60s into the 70s.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that business high schools were around then. Well, why a business school?
My mother... The school's called Jones. It was called Jones Commercial, and it was a top flight school that you had to test into. You had to have a B average to get in, and my mother had wanted to go to that school. And when she tested, she told me she tested and she had a 2.9 average, just almost a B average, and they wouldn't let her in. And so, she always wanted that someone to be in that school. And here I was kind of floating around trying to find a school that I could connect to. And so she wanted me to test, and I got in because I was a smart girl. So I had no trouble.
After high school?
After high school, I went to college and got my degree. I graduated from Northern Illinois University. And my first 2 years, I went to Moraine Valley Community College. Because I paid for my own college, and then I transferred. So I stayed within the state of Illinois, and like I said, I got my degree in journalism.
So tell us about how you started Late Night Catechism.
Well, so I had been friends with Mary Pat Donovan, and she had an idea to do a one-woman show based on the lives of the saints. And she had told some funny stories at a dinner, and someone said to her, you should do something with this. And so she called me and a bunch of other people and asked if we could come over to her apartment and sit down. And she wanted us to work on a show, and it was advertised already, called Lives of the Saints. And I actually have the original poster that were called Lives of the Saints. And but if you're not a writer and you don't really know how to develop something, and you just are given an assignment to research. These people did nothing. I mean, I remember we had one meeting, we sat around, we ate fudge, which was fun, and we told funny stories about growing up Catholic. And then we had a second meeting, somebody brought fudge again, and again, we just told a lot of stories. And I thought, no one's doing this work. And this was a show that was going to be done at Live Bait Theater in Chicago, and it had a July opening date. So we're having these meetings in late February, somewhere around there, and just into March, like the first week of March. And I called Mary Pat and said, I'm kind of out of this project. No one's doing anything. I'm not interested in just, I had 3 kids at home, and for me to take evenings off to go hang out and do nothing, I just thought, no, I'm out. And then Live Bait changed the date of the show, and now Mary Pat had to be on stage at the end of May, which was only a couple months away. So she called me and said, look, they're out. I'll give them something else to do. You write this for me. You write this. And I said to her, I asked her to come over, and she came over, and we sat in my living room, and I said, I just don't see Lives of the Saints as being, something that's worth doing, but I can see that there's something there. And we all talked about our Catholic upbringing. That's the play. The play is that. And then I said, what do you want to be on stage? And Mary Pat said, I've always wanted to be a nun. And I said, okay, so now you're a nun. You're a nun. And what's the first thing the nun does when she comes in the room? She says, settle down, settle down. And that is how that play begins. So here it is, 31 years ago, me sitting in my living room saying, settle down, settle down. And that's how it begins. And then I spent 3 weeks. I had to have a finished script in 3 weeks so that Mary Pat could learn it. And we could design the set. And she had a friend who did the set. She had a friend who did publicity. And then during rehearsal, we would change a few things around. And that's really, nobody thought it would be anything, Amber. No one thought it would be anything. It was supposed to be 12 performances, 6 weeks, 2 nights, at 11 p.m. because it's called late. That's why it's called Late Night Catechism. The ticket, I think, was $11. And I thought, 12 performances? Who's going to come to 12 performances? And it just caught on. It just caught on. And there was a day that they didn't have anyone at the theater to work the box office. And it just happened to be a day that my then husband had taken the kids to do something. And I said, well, I've got the afternoon free. I can work the box office. I can answer phones. And I got a call. The theater got a call from someone from Rockford. Now, Rockford's about 90 minutes away, or 90 miles away, really, from Chicago. So that's a drive. I mean, to come. And I thought, someone's coming all the way from Rockford to see this show. And so we had people who started to hear about it. The Live Bait Theater is a small theater. It only has like 77 seats or so. And there was a show on the main time. That's why we were on at 11 o'clock. And the main time show closed early. And so we ended up going into the main time. And when we did that, we could get the Chicago Tribune to come out and review us. The Tribune never reviewed a late night show. So they reviewed it, loved it. And we had all these breaks. It just was a really wonderful way that show ended up evolving.
It's been running for 31 years.
31 years, yeah. So we finished at Live Bait. We went to the Organic again as a late night until the main show flopped, and they said, "Can you move into this 200-seat theater?" And I thought, 200 seats? Oh my God! We ran for a year. We left the Organic. We moved to the Ivanhoe Theater. We ran for 5 years. Left the Ivanhoe. We went to the Royal George. We ran for 20 years.
So what's the status of the production now?
It runs weekends at the Greenhouse Theater in Chicago. It's still, I think we're still recovering from the pandemic. So it's still trying to stir the pot, trying to get people to come out, feel comfortable coming out. It's the pandemic. It's just an amazing thing that has happened to us.
That's the story from many, many theaters all around the country, even here in Vermont. All right, Vicki, we've got more to talk about, some of your newer projects right after this break. We'll be right back.
Well, that was exciting interview part 1, but now we got to take a break and hear a word from Russell. Russell, come on back in, bud.
Hey, Rusty, how are you?
I'm good. I gotta tell you that Nuns for Fun are my favorite kind of nuns.
I'm sure they are.
The best nuns.
There's none more fun than Nuns for Fun.
Nope.
So the other place you can have a lot of fun, and we want to tell people something tonight a little different. We have a message for you from our good friend Robusta Cap.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Miss Robusta Cap, and guess what? I've got my very first solo show coming up. It's called The Lady on the Stairs. That's right, The Lady on the Stairs. I'm a lady, and apparently this venue has stairs. Guess which venue it is? The historic Stonewall Inn. Yes, I'll be singing upstairs. And guess what? Tickets are $25 at the door, but you can get them at Eventbrite.com. That's right, Eventbrite.com for $20. May 25th at 3 p.m. and May 29th at 7 p.m. It's a 2-drink minimum. So don't you want to save a little bit of extra money? I think we all want to save a little bit of extra money in this economy. For those of you that don't remember me, I sang the Lauren Bacall version of Hearts Not Diamonds. I think some of you really appreciated that lovely imitation. But you know what else we appreciated? We appreciated that Michael Biehn was in that movie. Isn't he gorgeous? He's fabulous. He's just gorgeous. And guess what? You can hear a lot more of the stupidity in my show where I sing live. Come and join me. Come on. Eventbrite.com. The Lady on the Stairs. May 25th at 3 p.m. May 29th at 7. 2-drink minimum. Come on. Join me.
Thanks, Robusta. I'm sure your show is going to be fantastic, and I hope people get out there to see it. And also, the other thing that people can do while they're getting tickets for Robusta's show, they should also go check out our store, the Amber Live store. It's available at amberlive.tv. You can get lots of great products there. There's Rusty Peen products, Rocco products, and even Amber products if you want them. So get on over to the Amber Live store.
Top bag and on that mug, you can get my mug on a mug. This side's better. This side. This side.
It's hard saying, Rusty, but instead of looking at the two sides of your face, let's just get back to our show.
Yeah.
All right, we're back with Vicki Quade. Vicki, so you've done Late Night Catechism. Tell me about some of your other projects you have, including some of the books you've written.
I just love working in that religious comedy, and so I developed other shows that looked at how religion affects our lives. And you don't have to be Catholic to see any of those shows. So I did, I have a show called Put the Nuns in Charge. But it talks about the 7 deadly sins of bad behavior. And I have one called Saints and Sinners, where we create a calendar of famous saints and notorious sinners. I have a show called Sunday School Cinema, all about movies. I love movies. Then I segued into bingo. I started doing bingo shows. And man, oh man, I should have done bingo like 20 years ago. People love bingo. They just
tell me about the bingo show. How does that work?
Well, it's an actual show. So it's a comedy about bingo and fundraising where you actually play bingo. So like we talk about heaven and hell, and then there's a game and you win goofy prizes. So there's a lot of comedy, very interactive, lots of questions, get people up on stage, um, and you would think if I call B7 and somebody goes, oh, I've got it, you're like, your prize is going to be a glow in the dark rosary, but they're so excited to win. And it's really great. It's really great. I actually had the New York Times come out, and they saw a production of Bible Bingo, and included it in a piece that they did. And so it's nice to have some validation,
Sure.
like that, you know.
Sure.
And then I still have a whole line. Of course, I have Holy Ghost Bingo for Halloween, Easter Bunny Bingo for Easter, Christmas Bingo. And then I segued into games because, you know, when the pandemic hit and we were all stuck at home, my mind is constantly thinking. And I thought, I cannot just sit here and do nothing. But I started watching game shows because I like game shows. And I started thinking, I could create a game show. And sure enough, I created a game show called Are You Smarter Than Your 8th Grade Nun? And I have a wheel. I opened this in 2021, but mostly in 2022. And now I've done it all over the country. And I have a wheel. I spin the wheel, and it comes up on subject matters you would have learned in school. And I've got really funny questions. I get 2 people up on stage. And it's just so much fun. And again, game shows. People love game shows. So,
and a book. You've written some books as well.
I have. I wish I had a copy of my. I have a book called Close Encounters of a Chicago Kind. I was just looking for a copy because I used to have a copy here. But I just mailed one off yesterday to somebody who wanted a copy. And again, it was during the pandemic. I like to write, and I really like to tell stories, and I like when I see something. So Amber, let's just say that and some of these things actually happen. You're at the bank. You're at the bank, and you start having a really interesting conversation. Okay. And I'm in line. I'm in line, and I'm listening to you. And I think this is a great story this person is telling loudly in the bank. You know? And then I think, well, I'm just going to write about it without identifying who you are. I never give a name. I just say, lovely lady was at the bank, kind of thing. And people would always say, I love your stories. You should collect your stories in a book. So I had just created a game show called Easter Bunny Bingo. And one of the people who interviewed me was the 2 guys, and they also published books. They had a company called Eckhart's Press. And I just said, everyone's been saying I should do a book. Can I send you a sample? And I sent it, and they said, yes, we want to publish this. And so I spent months during the first months of the pandemic just organizing those stories. Once I figured out how I wanted that book to flow, then it was really easy for me to put it all together. And they published it, but they published it in December of 2020. Well, who was going to bookstores then? So nobody. We got it into a few bookstores where it sold out, but we couldn't get it into anything of note, really. So they sold them online. And
what are you working on now? What are you working on now? You say you like to create, you like to write. What are you writing?
I am writing a musical that is opening soon, I hope. It is based on kind of the antics of Laverne and Shirley. So it doesn't really have a religious bent. And we are in the process of negotiating with a small theater to open this. And if that happens, that's going to be a lot of fun because I think that'll lead to more. And just continuing to book shows. I have a sports edition of Are You Smarter Than Your 8th Grade Nun? And I'm getting ready to create a music edition. So it's like it's the same thing. It's a game show based on music, things you would have learned in school, or just listening to the radio. And again, I'm just always thinking of ideas. So I was kind of the most natural person to get involved in late night catechism. Raised Catholic, friends with the nuns, lots of ideas, great researcher, and I just like to put all that together. So.
Well, you've had a fascinating career so far, and you aren't stopping, that's for sure. So I can't wait to see your future projects and what you can come up with, because you do have a creative mind.
Thank you. And when I'm in Vermont, I'm going to get you up on stage. So.
Oh, don't tease. Don't you tease me.
Oh.
Okay, Vicki, so great talking to you, and I look forward to your visit to Vermont.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This has been fun.
Thank you.
Well, dude, thank you so much, Vicki Quade, for stopping by and for getting on the Amber Live show. And now, speaking of ways that we can show more people out in the world, here comes Rocco Zamboni with his Pearls of Wisdom.
Alien mothership! What the? I'm telling you, I'm a little concerned because the Pentagon is telling us that there's an alien mothership floating around in space. It may be pointing laser cannons at us, I don't know, but the Pentagon, New York Times, even Fox News, that trustworthy bastard, has confirmed that there might be a mothership floating around in space. Now, I think the best thing for all of us to do is maybe pack a bag, pack some sunscreen, get your sunglasses, because we're going to be close to the sun when they come and get us. That's right, they're coming to get us. I think they want us to repopulate some planet full of hot chicks. I'm all for it. So as you can see, I'm dressed for the occasion. Now, I don't know what you guys got planned, but if you want to go hide in a bunker or something, maybe dig a hole in the backyard and hide in it until they leave, go ahead. I think it's dumb, but whatever. Just make sure you got enough SpaghettiOs to last you for a while. I think we're all in big trouble. But then again, I've seen some of these aliens, and you know who I'm talking about. That's right, they've been among us this whole time. Oh, yeah. All right, I'm out of here. I suggest you guys go put gas in the car and start traveling somewhere where nobody gives a crap. Like, West Virginia or something. All right, this is Rocco saying beep, bop, boop, or whatever language they're going to say on that planet that we're all going to. It's going to be a blast. All right, bye.
Wow, thanks, Rocco. You learn something new every day. And that's all the show that we have time for tonight. And now it's time for Boog and Shoog.
Hey, Shoog, did you ever hear the term fisting?
Fisting? What the heck is that? Ew!
Wait a minute!